Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TinyBlueGames. My name is, of course, Seesaw or Chris, and today we're playing Final Fantasy XIV in 2019. Today we're looking at the second dungeon, the Black Shroud, the Tam-Tara Deepcroft, I believe is what you would say. Here we are. In this video, I should start. It shows I'm level 19. I'm actually level 25 now, and I have done the third dungeon and really want to make a video about that as well. But I do want to kind of share my experiences with each dungeon because I don't know, you guys seem to enjoy it. So let me know if you want to share each dungeon or if you think I should just sort of skip ahead a bit. But yeah, here we are. The first thing I noticed when I entered the door was that it actually says that there's new players in your party, and that is such a cool thing. It says, I think that there's new people who haven't done this dungeon before or this duty before. I think that's such a good thing that the game actually goes out of its way. And you can see from the start, I was going to write, "Hi everyone, I'm a new player," but then I saw that it said that there's new players here, and I was like, oh, cool. The game does it for me. So it kind of takes that pressure off the new players, which is super cool. And I hope they do that in all of their content. It'll be very interesting to see. Because I think it's a really good thing, specifically in situations where there are cutscenes. You know, if you're a player that's been playing a lot and you're kind of impatient about cutscenes, but you know that there's a new player playing, you're a little bit more okay with it, right? Right. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. This is the first dungeon I ran right after Shadowbringers. Super excited to have the expansion. Really excited to have the experience gaining earrings, and I've got the ring from the Hall of the Novice now, so I'm flying through the levels. You'll see in this dungeon I collect a bunch of levels. It's really a nice experience, actually, and it's kind of gotten to the point where I level super quickly when I do dungeons, and then I have to catch up in my main scenario quests, which are often lower level than me, and I have to like sink down to them. So it's an interesting situation that way. But it is nice to see how much experience you can get from a dungeon. Super cool. But let's talk about the big Shadowbringer in the room. There was a lot of skill changes, and I'm like a level 20 archer that has very few skills, so I can't imagine people at end game having to deal with this. But the first one I noticed was that beautiful number 5 that you see me spamming a bunch. I'm like, why is this skill not working anymore? And I go and check it out. It's Misery's End, and it's a kind of a finisher attack that would be a powerful shot that you would do at low health enemies. And it's actually been removed from the class, I believe. So that's very interesting, because in a lot of other MMOs you'd play, when something gets removed, it would be removed from your bar. You wouldn't just have it chilling there. So I was a little bit surprised by that. At first I was like, is there new conditions I need to meet? Is there something special I have to do? But no, I think it's out of the game, and I could be wrong about this, or maybe it's added at a higher level or something like that. But it was very interesting, and I was like, why can't I use this? So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was my number 2 ability, which I believe is called Straight Shot. I say I believe because I'm recording this while watching the video, and I'm like, I didn't look up the names of all the skills. Should have done that. But I believe it's called Straight Shot, and it's a proc. Before, it was kind of like an upkeep where it would give me increased critical strike, and I sort of had to keep it up on me. Now it's a proc that takes quite a while for it to proc sometimes, and I believe it does a lot of damage when I do get it. But it definitely threw me for a loop, because I was like, why can't I click this button that I need to keep up so much? So there you go. There was a lot of other minor changes. I believe my dot lasts longer. And I believe this is me checking out what's up with my skills. I'm like, why can't I see Misery's End in here anywhere? I'm like, did I do something wrong? And then eventually throughout this, I do put together in my head, I'm like, oh, Shadowbringers. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, you know, it was a learning experience, but we got there. So the dot also got longer, and I believe the AoE, which is also new for me. It's a pretty new skill I got, which I love having an AoE skill. I often find myself just spamming it when there's multiple enemies, because I'm like, this is easy and fun. My optimal AoEs when I like dot everyone up and then spam it, I think. I haven't obviously looked into rotations or anything, but I feel like that's a pretty classy way to go about it in dungeons, right? So yeah, I've really enjoyed that skill a lot. I think it's quite the beneficial skill. Just being able to have an AoE, and it's really nice because a lot of games, a lot of archers get arrow rain, right? Which is kind of a ground targeted sort of easy to put down and just sort of spams arrows down. This is a little bit more flashy. It's got the arrows going around in different patterns and stuff like that. So I think it's a nice change up. I'll probably say that and find out that I do have an arrow rain coming to me or something like that. But I do like that it's a little bit different that way. So there you go. But yeah, let's talk Shadowbringers, huh? So things have seemed quite positive in the community, and I really do enjoy that. It's such a fun time to be playing an expansion, to be getting into a new game. I've really felt like I've made such a good decision buying this game, and I say that as someone, and you know, some of you are actually kind of bothered by this, who still plays WoW, and I see, like, because I post a WoW video on Sunday, and Sunday's the new WoW day. Final Fantasy Wednesday and Saturday. I'm sorry, I keep changing it. I hope that that's how I keep it. I think that's like the fairest for everyone, because it's a really weird situation where I had, like, say 3 months ago, I had more WoW subscribers than I did Final Fantasy. Now I have a tremendous amount of active Final Fantasy subscribers, and a still like growing amount of WoW, you know, subscribers, but there's just not as many, and that has to do a lot with, you know, which game's really popular on YouTube at the moment, and it's hard to, like, you know, stop making content for one group of people. And for you Final Fantasy 14 people, you know, this should be a little bit encouraging, because that means if, you know, even if it's a slow period and there's not much coming out for Final Fantasy, I do always hope to keep making videos and making it exciting with what I do. And let's be honest, at the pace that I go at, I don't think I'll ever run out of content. So there you go. I guess I should talk about the dungeon a bit more, huh? Just talking about random stuff. I just got home from work, and it's nice to vent, you know? The dungeon itself, I liked this one. It was a lot shorter, and a lot shorter than the third one will be. I'm really excited for that video, because it was a really cool dungeon, but it's like a 40-minute video that's gonna, like, take the life out of me, and I'm super excited to make it, but super nervous to talk for 40 minutes. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. It won't be the next video. I have a special little botanist surprise that I'm gonna be doing. I hope I said it's botanist, right? The gathering skill. Am I just making myself look like a fool again? Because that's like a regular word, botany, right? That's like the planting and gardening. I'll look it up after, and if it is not that, I'll just restart the recording. So there you go. That's my recording secrets. I don't want to look like too much of a fool in one video, just enough that you guys, you know, feel like you have to support me. I don't know. I really get off topic sometimes. The dungeon. So the dungeon's really cool. I love that it's kind of like a mine shaft, with sort of a dark magic-y feel. There's a nice mix of different creatures, and I think it is just such a good length. I believe a lot of people were saying the second dungeon you'll see a whole bunch, which is interesting, because like, I could see it getting boring after a while. But it is nice that it's quick. If there's one that you're going to get, you don't want it to be a tedious long one. And at the start, I saw the timer, and I was like 81 minutes. Well, it's at 81 now. It was probably like 90 or something at the start. I'm like, this is going to be quite the dungeon. But then we completed it pretty quick, and I was like, huh, well, there you go. So I don't know, like, are the timers, I assume they get a lot more challenging to meet when you get to end game and when you get to more veteran content. But certainly for the beginning dungeons, like, they're pretty tame. And I don't know if this is like, would it kick me out when that timer's at the bottom, or would it just, you know, reduce my reward? I'm not really sure. Another thing that I noticed, and I'm just sort of listing things that I haven't noticed in other dungeon runs, is the limit break at the top there. What is that? If anyone in the comments is able to answer me. It sort of starts and gets more filled up as you go on. Is it a bonus of some sort? Is it for killing a certain amount of monsters? Yeah, riddle me that. But yeah, so we're doing pretty good. You can already see here I've gained like a tremendous amount of experience in like I want to say it's been like 5 or 10 minutes of this dungeon, which is just insane. Like, it's a crazy amount of experience that you get when you have like the experience getting items, you have the rest experience, you have so much going for you. It's just a really good way to level. And I'm wondering if, I should be doing it differently, because it feels weird doing my main scenario quests when I am a higher level than them. Is there a more efficient way I should be doing things? Should I be like bouncing between two different jobs to try, or classes, I guess, to try and balance out the experience I'm getting while doing the main scenario quest? Is that like a smart way to do it? I don't know, because I do find it weird that I keep scaling myself down, and I'm like, is that the most beneficial thing to do here or not? I don't know. The main scenario quests, for that matter, still have a fair bit of traveling around and just exploring things, which I do like, but it is a bit tedious. I have started using the crystals to teleport myself around, which has been an excellent tip and a huge help in terms of the tediousness of walking. So that's been good. And what I have actually enjoyed, or I guess found very unique to Final Fantasy, is that each dungeon so far, and I've done 3 of them, has been introduced through the story. Whereas a lot of, World of Warcraft these days, you just kind of have them appear in your dungeon finder, and you feel very disconnected from it as a person, as a new player, right? Like, imagine you haven't played WoW for many years and you don't have any memories associated with all these beginner dungeons. If you randomly got to level 20 and, figured out what the random dungeon queue was, and you just looked and you're like, oh, I've got like 10 dungeons here. That's weird. It's kind of nice that it actually points you and tells you a little bit about each dungeon, and then you go in and you do it, and you have a quest complete that gives you a little bit more story about it. So I do like that. I think it's a smart way to introduce people to it, but certainly, if you, for some reason, were redoing the main scenario quest, it would be quite tedious. And as you can level multiple jobs on the one character, you probably wouldn't ever have to do that, but it's just a little bit interesting that way. I thought this was a really cool last boss to the dungeon. I think like it's very central. Like, you're obviously focused on the big purple orb as soon as you walk into that room. And, as soon as you walk in there, I was like, hey, we're going to get to that purple button and we're going to go against this guy. What I also enjoyed, as you just saw there, is that you can teleport into the final sealed area. You have a little bit of time to do that, because obviously my party didn't want to watch the cutscene, so they just kind of very quickly ran in, and it did allow me to catch up, which was nice. So I think as a new player, it's just a really, they've got a lot of systems in there to kind of keep you caught up and really warn people that you are new, that you do need a little bit of assistance here and there. I think it's a great mix of, being beneficial for the experienced players, but also being beneficial to those new players. But yeah, I really enjoyed things. And you know what, guys? I've been loving Final Fantasy XIV. Like I said, I am 25, and I do have a few more videos that are, in the works, coming up soon, hopefully. And I feel very confident with being able to hit the 2 Final Fantasy videos a week kind of scenario. And you guys have been so supportive. I can't say it enough. I've gotten to a point, sadly, where I can't answer all the comments. There's so many comments coming in. And, as much as it hurts me that I can't, and I really try to comment on the ones that I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing to say, or oh, that person comments so much. It's really so nice to see all of you taking the time to comment and taking the time to answer each other's questions, right? That's always the best part of this community, of my little YouTube community, is when I see a comment I haven't gotten to in a few weeks, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have gotten to this sooner. And then I go and see that someone's already answered their question, has already said, hey, he's got another video on this, or hey, he said this. That's the best feeling as a YouTuber, and I just love it. So you guys are the best. You really are. I don't know. That's all I can say about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed the dungeon. Between this and the first one, I think I did enjoy this one more just because it was quicker. And I think that, is nice when it comes to leveling, to have a nice quick experience. But in terms of the 3, and the third one's the one I haven't made a video about yet, but will be soon, I think the third one had the most interesting like theme and mechanics and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to talk about that, guys. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.